Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, non-binary, interplanetary, intergalactic time travelers. Salute you. Must be exhausting out there. My name is Oliver, and I'm in a bunker I like to call Studio 72, deep behind enemy lines in the People's Republic of Portland, Oregon. I hope you're all doing good. Today is January 15th, 2026, and I just wanted to chat. I'm checking in. Let me know how you're feeling. Let me know how you're feeling about these new developments. First, what I want to do is just talk about briefly, just reflect on the last video that we did. You know, I don't do very many of them, so I just kind of want to touch on that just briefly. Some things and some that we made, they often come true. They're not, you don't have to be Notre Dame, right, to see patterns. But what's important and why I think that it's important for me to discuss it just briefly is that we need to develop our skill in noticing the patterns, noticing how the patterns take place, noticing right there, right in front of it, hidden in plain sight. Hidden in plain sight. Now, some things, you know, you guys roll your eyes to, like the astronomy, the astro aspects, the astrology of it. That's important to note. That's an important pattern to note. Why do you think all these people, all these great scholars, for really thousands of years, but hundreds and hundreds of years, all followed the planets? All watch the stars? There's a reason for that. And then I want to touch on the psyops that I see going on with the ICE enforcement, things that are developing. It's very alarming. I'm very concerned. I'll give my insight on that. I give a little bit of an analysis through my perspective, my lens, my independent. Keep in mind, I'm an independent. I always like to remind people that because, you know, I get savaged and called, you know, a MAGA blowhard and this and that. I'm America first, but I'm not a Trump loyalist. I'm an America first loyalist. And that doesn't always match with what the advisors of the Trump administration are recommending, obviously, right? So, but I also notice this jive talk trying to push us back into Iran. So I don't have a lot of intelligence on it, intel sources, but I do have some insight, and obviously I have an opinion. And so that's an opinion I'd love to give, right? And and then it's open. Hey, kitty cat girl, it's open. If anybody else wants to talk about anything, you want to say your how you feel about it. Hey, Camden, how you doing? Good to see you. So just to recap, I want to mention a little bit about our last video. You know, I only do a video like every couple of weeks. Sometimes it's like once a month. I don't do a lot of videos. But I do want to discuss a little bit of that because some things have come true. One of the things that I confessed, that I admitted to, is that I was seeing boats. So, and I didn't know exactly, like not just boats, but like a boat capsized, like a boat in distress. And hey, Tracy Matera, good to see you. Camden, kitty cat girl. What we're talking about here is the psychological operations that I see playing out with the ICE enforcement and how things are escalating into civil war. I actually believe it's in civil war. I think we're in civil war now. I think it's just heating up and there's more and more deaths and the bodies are just going to stack. I'm sorry if that's dark and bleak. I'm not a black pillar. I'm actually a white pillar, believe it or not, because I talk like I'm a black pillar. I'm not a black pillar. But I do want to briefly mention a little bit about some of the astro aspects that I pointed out going into the holidays. Now, I have social service background. It is. I know. I apologize. It's a little dark. Kitty Cat says, yeah, it is, but it's okay. Thanks. But, listen, I'm a realist. I'm a realist. My framing, my perspective, my lens, I'm not here to tell anybody what they want to hear. I'm not selling any shit. I don't have any methyl ultra blue over there at Alex Jones. I'm not selling you, smelling salts. I see he's got his new thing is smelling salts. And he's going to fuel the revolution with smelling salts. I'm a sub. Thank you, Kitty Cat Girl. I appreciate that. Hopefully I've fallen you back. So I'm just a straight shooter. I openly, I tell the truth. I speak the truth. What I always tell people they don't know me is it's therapeutic for me. I have some social services background. I got some psychology background. I'm an artist by trade, professional artist. You can see I got, this is Erica Kirk right here, glitching. I call this one Erica is glitching. So that's Erica, like, that's like when you see her down here and she's in an interview and she's smiling really big, and all of a sudden she goes, ding, bong, bong. And then she goes back into the interview smiling. That's glitching. That's Erica glitching. So that's what that piece is there. It's Erica glitching. She's at the beach. She loves the beach. She loves Miami for some reason. I'm not sure, or Florida. So, she's got the eyeballs. I mean, listen, I love crazy blondes. God knows. I love crazy blondes. But there's some real red flags with that girl. But let me touch on this a little bit, because the last video I did going into the holidays. Now, in my social services, I used to work the suicide hotline. It goes off the charts in the wintertime. People get depressed and try to kill themselves, off themselves during the holidays. And it's a sad, dark reality check of the situation, but it's a complicated thing, and it has to do with, I believe, childhood trauma. It has to do with the fact that it's families coming together, and families often are like a vinaigrette. They're like oil and vinegar. They don't mix. And so it can be explosive. It often is explosive. It's an easy prediction. I'm not trying to pat myself back and go, oh boy, your psychic intuitions were really spot on, bro. It's very, very predictable. The data shows itself. It's like full moon in emergency rooms. The data shows that the holidays people lose their cool. They lose their shit. And unfortunately, they end up hurting the people that are around them. The domestic situations is off the charts. So I stated all that. I predicted all that. I shared that on the last video. It was before the holidays. And all of that came true. It was this very easy prediction because it was a bloody massacre, massive mass shootings, mass killing, mass death, and carnage. I also saw boats, so I shared that. People kind of like, I didn't even really know what the boat thing was. I knew that there was a big boat, an aircraft carrier. We all do, Kitty. We all do, Kitty Cat. Listen, there's ways to deal with that. So hang with me. We can end on a positive spin on the end there. So that craft, I thought maybe it's just military. I even said in the video, I go, it's probably military. I see this boat. Turns out that, and I had no idea. I'm not in the military. I don't have any military sources. I don't have any intel sources. It turns out that was a part of the psychological operations that the Trump administration and Secretary of War, Hegsteff, and that was a part of seizing cargo oil tankers. It happened. So we saw those oil tankers or some sort of large ships, and it was one after another I think there was multiple. I think they were approaching like a dozen different oil tankers, like Somalian pirates. They were going down and capturing. We have become the Somalian pirates that we were fighting and concerned about, right? Okay. Yeah, right? But I mean, it's a joke, but it's not a joke, right? So that, I think, ties into it. In addition, I want to include this one in because this one flew under the radar. Alaska had record snow and icefall up in Alaska. And it missed the mainstream media, but I did pick it up. And I want to give credit to that psychic intuition in those flashes, because I'm a strong believer in that. A marina, and you can Google this, double check me, and just so you can get the visuals. I don't have the visuals here right hand. The marina, the ships, so much snow. The snow was sinking and did sink dozens and dozens of these ships. A marina, yachts, and other things. They weren't like huge. Like I was thinking like a carnival ship. I saw like in Italy a couple of years ago, there was a carnival ship that, thousands of people, they all safely got off, but it went sideways and tipped. Huge fuck up. And it turns out that the captain was drunk. There was some drunk captain, right? So that happened. So anyway, that marina up there in Alaska, that happened. That was a reality. And I do actually think that even though I didn't know it was Alaska, I did say Pacific. I thought there was some sort of boat situation on the Pacific side. So, and all of that happened. I also, greetings from the Baltic states. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to brutal the name. Dimakoznikov. Dimakoznikov. Good to see you. Thanks for coming in. Baltic states in the house. Kitty cat girl. She's a good greeter. So, I just think there's some value in that. It's not like a presentation. I'm not saying, we did all this. We didn't do shit, and we couldn't stop it. But we seen that. And so the pattern with the Capricorn. Now, this is the astro aspects. I don't know if anybody likes the astrology or not, and most people don't like it. So I've cut way back. In fact, I don't even talk about it too much, but I do a little bit here and there. The wintertime in the Capricorn is the ram, right? Well, is it? I think it's a ram. What's the symbol for that, Capricorn? I think it's a big ram, because I know Aries is a ram. It's another horned fucking creature, all right? And it's up on the mountains. So that visual was of up on an icy peak at wintertime, right? With trying to survive a winter storm on a mountain peak. That was where we were at. That was the visual we were getting. That's what I say every single winter for every single January, because January is Capricorn. Capricorn is the mountain. To me, it's the mountain, but it's really, I think it's some sort of horned creature. I think it's a ram. Is it a ram? I don't know. Whatever. The goat, some mountain goat. It's a big horned creature. Right? You with me? So, and they're trying to survive the winter on the mountain. That's really where we're at. And that's really where we were. And little did I know that there would be death and shootings and, car rammings. Little did I know that is the specifics. But we could see the pattern. The astro aspects of the pattern was there, right? And so we are also using some of that psychic intuition, right? The pineal gland. Got that pineal gland there. There's a reason they got this. The pineal gland looks like a big pine cone right up in here. And when that's activated and people are aware and they're using that, I believe that's where the psychic intuition comes from. And it gets calcified. And I believe that neuroplasticity. Okay, kitty cat, thank you for dropping in. We'll see you soon. The neuroplasticity of our brains is how we get back into being positive and feeling better, and how we get back into having this psychic intuition of how we can see things that are coming down the line. And so there's different methods. I don't want to get into all those methods. I'm not here to do the workshop on the methods. But neuroplasticity, that's the psychological term. Neuroplasticity, if you can reverse that, you can reverse dementia, you can reverse Alzheimer's. I believe you can reverse depression, on top of opening the mind. Now, ancient indigenous cultures knew this. They knew this. You got First Nations that do sweats, tribal sweats, wigwam tribal sweats. And where you go into a little carve out, you got it covered, wigwam. It's almost like an igloo if you haven't been in one. But it's, and then you heat the hot rocks, so you have a campfire. You have you're outside with the campfire. Everyone, you're socializing. You're getting your mind into that zone, and then you go in and you sweat 4 rounds. And not really a shaman, but kind of a shamanistic person, figure, and just really the leader of the sweat. But it can take on higher meanings. Brings in some of these rocks. You do some sage, you do some cedar, put them on the rocks. It's hot. They're glowing. You can see these glowing orange rocks. And the sweat. And you begin to sweat. You begin to meditate. And I believe that you can open up that pineal gland, which looks like this pine cone. You'll see these ancient cultures, Egypt, all of them. The Sumerians, they all have this shape of what looks like this pine cone, which it is a pine cone in a way. A pine cone from the desert, right? We know they had more water, right? But pine cone in the desert? Pine cones usually don't come from the desert, right? And also with I think like mushrooms or a ayahuasca or a peyote with the Hopis down in Arizona and New Mexico, the Apache. They would do these sweats in a vision quest, and I believe that was a decalcification. That was a cleaning, if you will. Not a sanitation, that's a wrong word, but a decalcification, because as that pineal gland gets calcified, people get tuned out. And I think they get probably more isolated that way. And I think that's probably where people get into a lot of trouble, like depression and worse, checking out. I've lost a lot of friends. I've lost a lot of family. And for different reasons, some of it is substance abuse, but those are simply attempts at self-medication with deeper mental health issues that are unresolved. Cannabis doesn't cause psychosis. Contrary to what Alex Jones, total fucking dipshit about cannabis. All these, lots and lots of Republicans, unfortunately. They think that cannabis is too strong today and it's causing psychosis and it's reefer madness. It's 1930s. If you don't know what reefer madness is, Google it, search engine that, reefer madness. These guys are dipshits. Alex Jones is a total dipshit about stuff like this. Just an idiot. It doesn't cause psychosis, okay? There's pre-existing conditions. And sometimes it can react, there can be allergic reactions, but it's not the causation. This is the medical causation in psychology and medical terms, causation versus correlation. And what often gets overlooked is nobody dies from cannabis. Nobody dies from cannabis. Ever. Not going to happen. Millions of people die from alcohol. Alcohol is the quickest way to kill yourself. And that'll take 15, 20 years, although you could die very fast. There's lots of teens overdose on alcohol and die. Teens are not overdosing on cannabis and dying. When you overdose on cannabis, you take a nap. Okay? So, and I'm not saying it's for everyone. I'm not even saying that is cleaning, some cleaning of the pineal gland. But it does have a psychoactive ingredient. And it also relaxes people and sedates them, and also gives them time to reflect instead of doing something to themselves that they're going to regret or never be able to remember or regret again because they glitch out and cross over. So I didn't want to lecture about the cannabis. It's just I keep hearing, he just did it again with Michael Savage. They're both cannabis haters. They blame cannabis for all this stuff. It's just so ignorant, and it's clogging up these issues in Congress. We need cannabis banking bill in Congress. Look what Trump has done, like a genius. He went against all these stupid Republicans, all these ignorant conservatives like Alex Jones. all of these dumb fucks about cannabis, and they're saying it's reefer madness, it's destroying the children's minds, and oh my God, no, cannabis, ah. Shut the fuck up. Please just shut the fuck up about cannabis. It's not the way that it is. That's not how it happens. And again, I will say that it's not for everyone. There can be allergic reactions. If someone doesn't have the cannabis buildup in their body, then it can be kind of a sudden thing, almost like a mushroom intoxication, where they have mild hallucinations and euphoria is so strong they go into a panic attack. And I've dealt with lots of people. You just talk them down out of a panic attack, and they're going to be all right there. But so that's that whole pineal gland type of thing, and it's really interesting because Candace Owens, who I have a lot of respect for, the last episode yesterday, she started talking about this pineal gland. The last 2 episodes, actually. And she starts talking about time travel. She said Charlie Kirk said he was a time traveler. And so you got dumb nuts Nick Fuentes on InfoWars today with dipshit Alex Jones mocking her. Oh God, she's on Adderall psychosis and all of a sudden Alex Jones, one of the most mentally unstable people you'll see with the following, is now a doctor, and he's now going to diagnose it. She somehow is simply sharing what Charlie Kirk had shared to her. He said, I'm a time traveler, and I came back to find you, to Candace. And he said something like, you are my David, say like biblical reference. Now, I believe in reincarnation. I believe in past lives. I believe I have some. I'm not going to get into all that, but I believe there was something there. I can't prove it. And, when you try to get into that, people are like, oh, shit, I can tell you're smoking the good shit, right? Because you think you were in Egypt there 3,000 years ago. Well, that's exactly the psychosis we're telling you that reefer madness brings. All of a sudden, you think you're in space. And that's just such a dumb, idiot, retarded thing to say. Because time travel and the mind, there's been lots of studies on it. What Candace Owens was getting at, and it's very close to my heart, has been for decades, is that there is government studies and government operations, Operation Looking Glass, where they actually brought in, that's where CERN came from. She's talking about CERN, where they brought in studies, and that's where we get these terms of looking through outside, looking through where you're not really a voyeur, but you're traveling. Your mind travels, and the government said they used psychics during World War II or the Cold War at least, with the Russians. Psychics would travel with their minds. This is the government. These are documented studies. These are declassified CIA files. That they had psychics that would travel with remote viewing. Google up remote viewing. Just if you don't know, Google it up. Remote viewing is where you go out and travel and look. Now, what I believe Charlie was saying, again, I'm an outsider of speculation. I don't know for sure. I don't have any inside leads. I certainly didn't know Charlie, and I wasn't getting text messages from him like she was. But I believe that Charlie thought that he was from a biblical time. I really do. And when he went back to Israel, he had some conversations about her, and he did that one of those things like, this is the best hummus I've ever had in my life. I've said things like that. In fact, I often say things like, this is the greatest thing that I've ever had in my life. I say that. That's one of my things. And so I can relate to that. But I believe that he thought that he was going back into it, and that biblical, that Spirit of God, the Holy Spirit, had reached him so closely, so intensely, that he identified with being with God and around God during that biblical time of Jesus. Again, that's just me coming out and pitching my 2 cents on that. But that's what makes more sense to me. Now, people like Alex today, he was saying, making fun of all of it, which he's mocking Charlie Kirk because that's Charlie Kirk that said that. Dumb nuts. Alex Jones is such a dipshit sometimes. What a dumb nut. And so he's making fun of saying Candace made it up, but it was Charlie sharing it. Diaz Paca. I believed in God, then I became a history teacher and learned about the Crusades. Oh, man. Exactly. It's interesting you say that because Candace Owens, you're right, spot on. You just plugged into a bing. Candace Owens in her show yesterday mentioned the 2012. She also mentioned the Y2K. If you remember, I don't know how old everybody is, but Y2K, 1999, we're going to party like it's 1999. Right? We were partying hard in 1999. 2000, the Y2K, they had this huge trauma. 2012, the Mayan calendar stopped. And so there was this rush to interpret the Mayan Mesoamerican. I've been painting Mesoamerican. I got so many paintings. I love Mesoamerican culture. I love everything ancient. I feel a connection to the ancient. I can't explain it. And I don't want to go out and say, I was there, I don't want to say that because I don't know. And you just sound batshit crazy when you say stuff like that. But I appreciate and respect people that do that. Like Candace was sharing. She shared these things. Alex Jones mocking her. That's what these dumb fucks mock them. Especially conspiracy theorists. I mean, what kind of a dumb fuck conspiracy theorist is going to mock somebody when they share that? But she was also sharing that that's what Charlie Kirk's feeling was. Now, 2012, people misinterpreted that was the end of civilization. You notice that? It's like you get these doomsdayer type of people. And they all want to say, like, this is the end. It's over. At this year, you get these reverends that pop out of a fucking hole in some Baptist church. No, nothing against Baptists. Nothing against reverends necessarily. But they pop out of nowhere and they go, on this day, May 28th, this is the end times. And Jesus has told me that. Parker says, I'm the same way, man. I'm fascinated by ancient Rome, Egypt, Viking mythology. Brother from another mother. Good to see you. Thanks for dropping in, man. I'm totally all about that. But this is my thoughts on that 2012. And this, what you just said triggered earlier, is that I believe that that's when the interruption from the Spanish Crusades. The Mayans never said anywhere, this is the end for you in the future. They never said this is when a comet, which could happen, a meteor or comet comes into Earth and you're all fucked and it took out the dinosaurs. Something took out the dinosaurs. Something did a snap, quick change on an ice age. It wasn't global warming because we had no oil. That's why I'm mocking. I love to rumble on Facebook, on X, not Facebook. I hate it. I hate Meta. Meta's a piece of shit. But I like to fight these climate change people because you guys are just dipshits. You really haven't studied this shit. But it was the Mesoamerican culture, these scribes, I believe, they were interrupted with the Catholic Church. The Spanish Crusades that came in, raped their women, massacred, stole all their gold, stole all the jewels, and wiped everybody out. So if you don't have that basic culture infrastructure, as they did, as it was interrupted by the Crusades. So that's what triggered that when you said that to me. I don't believe that they were saying anything about 2012, that's when it ended. They never said that. They never said that in symbols. I've painted those calendars. I need to do that again, actually. I'd love to get back into some Mayan calendars stuff. It's so cool and fun. But they were interrupted. That's when their culture ended. That's when their world ended. Their earth ended. Their life in utopia. That's when their corn was no longer planted. Right? Is sometime during there with the Spanish Crusades. Anyway, you got me preaching on that because that's really close to my heart. You can see in the passion, man, my eyes light up with Mesoamerican stuff. El Tororo. Believe in the Lord Jesus Christ and you will be saved. Jesus Christ guaranteed eternal life to all who believed in him for eternal life. Just like you believe, 2 + 2 = 4. John 3:16, Acts 16:31. God bless you out there. Altar oro? Other gold? Is that gold? Oro gold? God bless you and amen. Thank you for coming down and saying that. I appreciate that. So now can I step aside because it's been 30 minutes. I'm just flapping my jaws, gumming away over here. And I haven't talked at all about Iran and the domestic situation. These glasses are kind of sloppy. So I got new. They're old glasses, but I haven't seen them for months. Psychological operations, right? We all know this is how it works, right? Have you heard of Gulf of Tonkin? Has anybody heard about where the Japanese bombing Hawaii? Pearl Harbor was actually a false flag because he knew it was coming. Roosevelt, FDR knew it was coming and let it happen so he could drop the mother loads, Fat Boy and Big Boy, whatever those nuke names were. It's a true story. Gulf of Tonkin, Vietnam. I mean, it's over and over and over again. The USS Liberty, the ship that Israel bombed, the U.S. ship, USS Liberty. You don't know that? Type that in right now or soon. Make a note of it. Note it down. USS Liberty. Israel bombed it, killed a whole bunch of Americans, and then blamed Egypt. Blamed Egypt to instigate and manipulate, right? I mean, isn't that the Mossad way? Isn't that the old Israeli way? I love Judaïs. I love the Israeli people. But we have to all admit that the Israeli government, the corruption within these Israeli government is going to get all of us nuked. I mean, I really believe that Israel is the one that's been instigating this war with Iran. We know that because this last couple of years, they admitted to assassinating all the top generals. They admitted to hundreds and hundreds of top Iranian military. Israel comes and said, yeah, we did that. Yeah, we did that. Remember when we bombed? Yeah, we did that to you. Yeah, we did that. You remember when we sent all your leaders in Lebanon pagers and then they exploded and killed some of their family and blew up in their pockets? We did that. We did Mossad. Yeah, we did that. We're the big mighty. We may be small, but we are mighty Mossad. What? So, I mean, the arrogance to pull off those stunts, massacres in Lebanon, massacres in Iran, but then the arrogance and narcissism to say, we did that and we're going to do more. That's called a psyop. Those are psychological operations. It's a reverse flag. Now, false flag is you blame it on somebody else, right? I think that's technically is something like that. These guys it's a little bit different. So what the reports I'm hearing out of Iran, and this is all brand new. Again, these are all my opinions. It's not fact. Don't get the false impression that somehow I have inside intel. I don't. Never been in the military. I can do some remote viewing, and I'm actually more really hyper aware of patterns. And I pay attention to what people say and the patterns that they say. In this case, Israeli military, IDF, Mossad. It sounds like to me the same Israeli coalition with ISIS, Al-Qaeda, with this Jolani. Did you see that they ran Assad out of Syria? Did you notice that? It's hard to miss it. You may not be into geopolitics. Sorry if your eyes are glazing over and you're checking out. I'm sorry, but this is geopolitics. It's very near and dear. Why? Because our future depends on this. This is not just a joke. This is not just reading astro aspects and saying, oh yeah, looks like stormy weather coming. No, a nuclear retaliatory radiation winter, Well, those words didn't really. let me back up. Sorry, man. Let me back up. All those words kind of mesh together. I'm concerned about mutually assured destruction, MAD, and that comes from a nuclear exchange, and we're very, very, very close. Very close. Not only with Iran, which, again, these are my opinions. I don't have inside intel. I've believed for a long time that Iran does indeed have nuclear warheads. And if China's got them, they've got them. If Pakistan's got them, they've got them. If India's got them, they've got them. That's BRICS. 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 They all got them. North Korea gets them from China. Let's stop pretending they don't have nukes. Shall we? Let's be realists. So Iran has got the nuclear capability. They also, we saw, where's my pen? It's called a hypersonic missile. And it comes in like this. Flashes. There's no way to stop it. Okay? These are hypersonic missiles that Russia's got. Russia's sharing them with Iran. Sorry if that sounds black pillar. It's a realist. It's a realistic approach. They're hypersonic. You cannot stop them. Period. There's no way to stop them. They defeated Iron Dome. We saw them. I watched all the live streams on this 12-day war. I don't think the 12-day war ever ended, but Trump wanted his 12-day war, and he wanted that Nobel Peace Prize for a 12-day war. So they somehow said war stopped? Okay. But Iran was launching those hypersonic missiles, and they were a couple of missiles away, one into the water filtration systems, desalination, and into their nuclear facility. That's all Iran had to do. They were maybe 3 or 4. I mean, if you hit the target, 3 or 4. But they have many more of those. Now, of course, there would have been retaliation. Trump and his tight little football circle of Mossad IDF that's running the White House cabinet and running this Trump campaign, unfortunately, right now, I call it MEGA, making Israel great again. Again, I love the Israeli people. I love Judaïs. Don't you dare call me a hater. I love Israeli women more than anything in life. And that's saying something. That's really saying something. Do I mean that? I'm pretty damn close to meaning that. We're very, very close to a nuclear holocaust with Ukraine and Russia. Russia has more missiles than we do. They have more military bases than we do. Okay? That's a fact. Now, I'm not a military expert, not a military analyst. You don't need to be. Just pay attention to what they say. Just pay attention to what they have. What they say they have. And believe them. There's no reason to doubt them. They're not going to lie to you. They're going to tell us exactly what they've got because they want to let you know the end is near if you don't back off. They're going to protect the motherland. Putin's goal is to protect the motherland. And he will. Unfortunately, I fail to see how it's a good protection of the motherland when your food supplies are radioactive. We've got radioactive winters. It's going to be dark for a couple of years. All of our food supplies and food chains are going to be contaminated. Radiation. So it's almost better to die than to survive those few years with radiation sickness and all of that bleeding out of the eyes. Every orifice in your body will then release blood. All right? So I hope you're not having a taco lunch or something because I said that, but I do apologize. But that's the reality of it. That's why we don't want that. That's why we don't want our food supplies radioactive. We're very, very close to that. And I actually believe that Trump is trying to negotiate peace. But there's people and forces and energy that are controlling Trump. He's not in charge of the CIA. Who is in charge of the CIA? Do we even know? We don't know. Who the fuck is it? Who the fuck is it? We have this secret little like Freemason cabal of Illuminatis in fucking bunker somewhere. controlling the entire narrative of geopolitics and war? That's what I see. What do you see? That's what I see. So we don't want that. And that's kind of where we're headed. And that's the vision I saw in December, is this type of combat. And again, it's the last 2 years we've been talking about it possibly happening. For 2 years. 2 years. This war, Russia, the Ukraine, the Nazis, we've armed the Nazis. Now NATO is pushing, they want a nuclear exchange. They want war with Russia, Germany, Italy, France, all of these NATO people. Now, Trump is actually, evidence to back up my opinion, Trump is actually pulling us out of NATO. He's saying, we're not going to fund your asses, and we don't want World War IV, which is, I think, 3 has already happened. So we're in a serious situation there. We need de-escalation and calmer heads with Russia. And we sure in fact do not need to be attacking Iran, who, as I said 10 minutes ago, I believe they already have nuclear warheads, but even more, just as significant, they have all of their partners and allies, Russia and China, and all. They closed the airspace off. For example, they closed the airspace off. Now, some are saying that Iran did that. So Iran cleared the airspace around Iranian skies yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? It's brand new. Cleared them, which is telling you they're ready to go. They're ready to defend themselves. They believe what Trump has said. They're going to be attacked. They're now going to do preemptive strikes in self-defense. That's what they believe. That's what I believe they're doing. They cleared that airspace, and we got flight radar. We can see there's monkey works. There's so many different, he's the best and the most solid. I consider him kind of a whistleblower. Monkey Works. He's on YouTube. He's got his own channel. He follows all of that, but he's very careful not to say and reveal, but he will leak a little bit of not war, but things that are going on. He's very, very concerned about exposing the situation. We see all this long-winded. We see Chinese, huge motherfuckers, huge mofos, airplanes, Chinese airplanes flying in the middle into Iran. All the other planes, hundreds, if not thousands of planes, you can all see them on the flight radar. You can see them all around Iran, not going over Iran. Hell no, because they have been issued do not fly. It's notice to airmen, NTA, I think they call it. I'm not in the business, but I think it's called NTA, notice to airmen. And here comes the big, just like the last time when Trump was striking Iran. Did they strike Iran? They did strike Iran, but the operation, was it Midnight Hammer? Is that what they called that one? It was on a new moon. I saw that one coming too, and I actually did do a video on that one. One of the rare times that I'll even do a video. But I think it was Operation Midnight Hammer. It's usually on the new moons because it's dark. It's like the occult. It's dark. It's secret. New moons. It's the darkest. This time they went in Venezuela on a full moon. So is that a reverse eye Jedi mind trick? I don't know. You tell me. But it was a full moon when they went in there and got Maduro. Which the whole sonic weapon thing sounds pretty crazy. But anyway, back to Iran real quick. China is coming in. So my whole point there is that China's in the thick of all of this. China has nuclear. They got secret weapons themselves. They got space lasers and space weapons. That's not science fi. That's reality. That's reality. And so I believe that this is an instigation of a regime change trying to pull in. I think that, to go back, I kind of got fragmented there. Giuliani, the guy that was installed, the guy that was killing U.S. servicemen 10 years ago. 10 years ago, he was beheading and killing servicemen as we were battling Al-Qaeda, ISIS, and all this other shit. We funded them and then we battle them, right? That whole Syria clusterfuck thing. Well, they toppled Assad. Assad's in Russia, we believe, or so the story is. And you've now got the same type of instigation of ground forces. Now, the reason I say this is that one of the Iranian leaders, I think, was on Fox News. I think it was Fox. I have to double check me on that. I don't have it in front of me. But I think it was the prime minister or somebody, was saying, look, we're fighting, these people are killing our protesters. We are fighting them because they are killing our Iranian police officers. That's what he said. And so there's other independent reports that are saying, this is not us killing thousands and thousands of people. We're fighting a force that we haven't seen before, that's burning down mosques in Iran, that's raping the women. It's not a protester, Iranian protester for regime change behavior and type of thing that they do. It sounds a lot more. As soon as I heard beheadings, it's like ding, 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 ding. Beheadings? They're beheading the police officers? Yeah, they're burning Iranian police officers alive. Alive. Can you imagine the sound of that? Can you imagine the sound of men being burned alive? Their women being raped and screaming. It's not an Iranian protester type of visual that I'm getting. Who is it? I don't know. I don't want to say, it's the Jews, it's these guys. I don't know. But if the IDF and Mossad and Bibi is backing and has backed successfully with regime change in Syria, running Assad out with his wife that's battling cancer, flew her and get his family out of there. He had to leave his homeland that his family's ruled for 40 years. You can argue whether you think that's good or bad. I'm not arguing whether it's good or bad. Just stating what happened. So this Jolani character, whatever his full name is, he is easily manipulated or paid. This is like a paid mercenary, just like we see with the little guy in Ukraine, Zelensky. So you had Kolomoisky, the rich billionaire oligarch that financed Zelensky. But Zelensky's really a mercenary there, right? And we know this. I hope you all know this. Zelensky is there, being paid. Jolani is there, being paid. It feels like to me that these forces, they're beheaders. Who are the head choppers? There's a very select, specialized torture crew that beheads people. The beheaders. ISIS. Jolani was ISIS. Before he's been installed, they trimmed his beard, took him out of camouflage fatigues, put him in a nice $2,000 Armani black suit, call him President Jolani of Syria, right? Right there next to Iran. Isn't that convenient? It just feels like that to me. It just feels like that is more than likely the situation. I believe Iranian leaders. I don't believe they were threatening to kill Trump and that bullshit. I think that's more staged false flagging. It's just me. I know it's disputable. People claim that Hezbollah was down in Venezuela, and people believe Hezbollah is here in America. I do believe that we do have hostile Hezbollah type of militants right here in the country, and they're ready as sleeper cells to be activated. You sure in hell better believe they're going to be activated, because they will. Especially if we start going batshit crazy over there, bombing their fucking buildings. This Operation Midnight Hammer was specifically it was marketed and stated for a nuclear disarmament. They didn't want to come in and slaughter children and blah, 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 right? Although who knows how many Operation Where's Daddy, all this sick shit that fucking IDF and Mossad does. It's really, really sick. And they specialize in false flags. They do things and they have other people do things that they want. That's what I think is going on in Iran. And I think it was very smart for Trump to back off all that saber war drum beating. He does very, very well. He likes to scare the shit out of leaders. Rocket Man, he was going into Twitter wars. It was Twitter back then. Rocket Man, I've got bigger missiles. My missile's bigger than your missile, Rocket Man. All this shit. And then all of a sudden he's over there shaking hands. They're drinking, Hennessy whiskey or something. And it's like a bromance. All of a sudden they're, making out or something on the DMZ in North Korea. That's the Trump way. That's the art of the deal. You come out with bluster and you threat, you become tough and people back down, you negotiate peace, you get what you want, they get what they want, and in this case, they survive. So I'm glad that Trump did that. That's my take on Iran. I don't think we should ever be bombing Iran. That's me. I do have kind of peacenik background. I do prefer diplomacy. Now, breaking from my traditional peacenik thinking, I actually supported hitting the cartels in Venezuela. I actually support hitting the cartels in Mexico. I actually support hitting the cartels in Colombia. It sounds fucking batshit crazy, and it's going to be ugly. And I think we should try to refrain. I don't know how we keep ground troops off the ground. Try to refrain from sending fucking people into those jungles to their death. Especially our U.S. servicemen is what I'm talking about. That's ugly. It's going to be bad ratings. Politically bad ratings. It's gonna taint Donnie. I mean, many libertarian analysts say that that'll be the end of it. That'll be the end of him. Legacy's down. You're gonna lose the midterms, and then you'll be impeached and treated like a fucking pinata punk for 2 years, and then whoever you were trying to Rubio, which I don't want to see him as president. JD Vance, I could probably be talked into supporting him for 2028. Although I do have some concerns, and that's a whole nother video. But he is good on a lot of things. But my whole point is, I digress. It is it's a done deal if you're going to try to do a LARPing of Vietnam where you're sending people into the jungles. It's just stupid as fuck. You know that's stupid as fuck. So my battery's getting low. I got to wrap this up here. So anyway, that's where I'm at. That's my take. Nobody asked, but I'm still giving it to you. Let's back off Iran. I think that's smart. Let's analyze who's actually raping the Iranian women. It's not a protester thing. Of the 3 or 4 major protests and regime change attempts over the last 10 years there, the women weren't being raped. The children weren't being slaughtered. They weren't beheading policemen, burning policemen at the stake. Those type of savage that is a telltale sign. That's a telltale sign of some sick motherfuckers. ISIS, they're the beheaders. Jolani, he's the beheader king, the king of beheaders. And I suspect that's exactly what's going on. And who's stirring all that up? It's not the Judaists, it's Bibi and his, Ludnik, whatever the hell is that crazy fucking neocon party, that little circle of whack jobs that are in control. Corrupt as fuck. Their own Israeli Judaist people are in the streets and have been to get them out. His own people in Israel protesting in the masses to get him out, and they can't get him out. That is who is behind this. So we don't say the Jews. That's stupid. You're going to lose your argument, lose your ground. You be specific, pinpoint it specifically, and hold accountable the people that are directly behind, and that is Mossad or whatever other half a dozen three-letter agencies that they've got there. Yeah, the CIA will be there too, but I'm talking about like Israeli three-letter agencies. There's all kinds of this. The set, I don't even know who these fucking people are. Maybe nobody does. I mean, they're more underground than the Illuminati or Freemasons, but they sure in the fuck operate a lot like the evil Freemason, not the good guys, if there was some. But we don't need fucking war with Iran. That's really, really stupid because it's not just Iran. That's going to fuck it up with Russia. We need diplomacy with Russia. Cool him out. The British, we believe the British sent in drones trying to drone bomb one of Putin's chateaus, one of his places. It kind of sounds like Putin punked the Nazi MI6, whoever the fuck sent those drones, because he wasn't at the place that he was doing a, what do they call that, with the VPN. He was doing a false ping that he was at that place, or said on a phone, I'm going to be at this place. You can contact me here. He wasn't there. He wasn't there where they sent the drones to kill it. And then they're like, oh, we're not going to kill you. And they were like, well, where were you going? Where'd you send the drones? There's nothing there. There's no military base. There's no missiles there. There's nothing there. It's a chateau. So what were you doing? Well, yeah, we did. I guess we did go there to get him. So they had this like New York Times like confessional, right? Just stupid as all fuck. I'm so sick of it. We need peace, and we need to focus and zero in. Why I support hitting the cartels is because we cannot get people into treatment and rehab and stop the 200,000 every year deaths from overdose in this country unless that dope supply is at least diminished by 90%. I'm throwing numbers out. We have to hit the supply. And China is in large part providing the chemicals for those cartels to use. So eventually, unfortunately, it is going to become a standoff with China. I don't want to see that. I'd rather see diplomacy come back. If China hits Taiwan, we're in World War, because they're going to pull in Russia, and you're going to see all these different alliances, and it's going to be USA. Why do you think they want Greenland so bad? Anyone? Bueller? Why do you think Greenland is so important? World War IV. World War IV. Russia has about a dozen different underground secret bases all around the Arctic. Russia's got like a dozen of these nuclear icebreaker ships to create these paths all through Arctic. We don't have none of that shit. We got fucking none of that shit. Nothing. We might have one. And there is a secret base on Greenland. And there is, I don't know. So I'm told. We got a little something, but nothing compared to Russia. Russia is totally dominating. The way that they are, and I'm not an expert on this, but the way that they map the trajectory of these missiles is it's actually faster to go up and over the Arctic and through, I guess it'd be this way to coming back over to us. I don't know. This thing reverses everything anyways, but you follow me. You got my grift on that. So let's examine who the beheaders are that are killing, or whatever the body count is in the thousands. That's the other thing is, I was reading some reports where they were saying 10, 12,000 dead, maybe approaching 15,000 of protesters. Is that even possible from Iran? Is that something they want to do? Is slaughter tens of thousands of their own people? No, I don't believe that. You can say that all day long, and I think it's horseshit. That's another indicator that this whole story smells like donkey manure. The whole Iranian conflict and massacre situation really stinks to high heavens. Something isn't right. And when you got beheaders, when nobody in fucking Iran likes to behead anybody, they may be hanging. This is beheaders. And they're raping the women. They're raping the women protesters. That's not Iranian military. Iranian military doesn't go in and behead the police and rape the girls. Who the fuck are those people? They're all masked up. They're all armored up. Who provided those arms? Who's in the area there? Who armed Jolani to overthrow Assad in Syria? You don't know? I know. And that's why 90% chance it's the same motherfuckers that ran Assad out with Jolani, bona fide. He was proud at one point for being the king of beheaders. Now he's in the fancy suit. You notice that? Very, very, very nice suit. And trimmed his beard. That was very, very nice. Very nice beard. No more ISIS. Nah, he's no longer an extremist. Now he's a president. And he's got Israel's backing. Isn't that nice? Not nice. So that's now. Let me wrap this up. Those same type of psychological operations that I just walked us through. My lens and perspectives, I don't have any ground intelligence. It's so brand new that only the DOD at the Pentagon knows for sure. And who knows if they know for sure, but I think they know for sure. But whatever. Those same type of fuckery, excuse my, is that French or Spanish or fuckery, is happening in Minnesota. It's happening all over the country. And it's not hard to do when you have you have an army of paramilitary, quasi-paramilitary, not with all of the weapons that you would expect from a bona fide paramilitary, but with purple hair, and they hate men. When the psychology, this is the thing that you have to understand. You have to break it down into little bite-sized pieces to understand. If you don't know this, listen to me now. You probably already know this. We'll catch up soon. If you don't know this, let me say this. They hate men. The biological men hate men. It symbolizes the patriarchy. It symbolizes authoritarian, the father figure. I think it even goes deeper. I think it triggers emotional, deep-rooted child trauma of not having a father, or the father that was there, abusive, or just a dumb fuck, or fuck up in however his way, addictions, sexual perversions, lack of God, lack of integrity, lack of morals, whatever that is. And it's been plaguing this country for a long time. Decades and decades, unfortunately. If you don't know that, take a look around. Take a look around in America. The culture has been heading downhill for quite some time. Okay? They hate the men. It's a father figure that they need to kill. Freud actually thought that boys or young men with some sort of lust with their mother, which I find just gross and absurd, but they wanted to kill the fathers. So the boys, the sons, wanted to kill the fathers to replace them in this kind of psychological, demented clusterfuck. I'm not saying Freud was right. I am saying that let's kind of like vultures, psychological vultures, let's pick the bones of that thought from Freud, his theory, and apply that lens and that perspective to what we see happening today. All through leading up to 2020, 2020 was the apex. We saw dozens and dozens of police officers assassinated in 2020. Remember the Summer of Love? It was the fucking bloodshed. It had nothing to do with love, did it? And that was a socially engineered, triggered conflict, just as we see in play today. It's just the fingerprints are all over it. And you know it. You can see it. You don't have to be a conservative. I'm an independent. Of course, I have a lot of psychology background. So, I mean, I over psychoanalyze things. That's part of my disorder. That's part of my disorder is I kind of think about things a little too deeply. And it might be better to just kind of just go with it, go with the flow. And instead of pausing, and doing your data, do my data. And then I'm going to spend about 3 weeks psychoanalyzing the options. It's okay. It's good to think about things, but sometimes it's just good to go with the flow. I believe that the Holy Spirit wants to take you places. The Holy Spirit of God will take you places if you simply ask it to. That's one of the things that I've said for many, many years. Be careful what you ask for. Why be careful what you ask for? Be careful what you ask for. Because you are going to manifest it and you will get it before you are ready. When I see someone say, God, I'd love to get married and I'd love to find a wife or I'd like to have a serious girlfriend. And I go, did you say that out loud? Brother, don't say that out loud because you're going to bring that shit upon you. And it's going to be like fire and brimstone. No, it's not that bad. But if my point were to be made, and I have said that with some brothers privately, I don't actually believe that it's always a bad thing, but the emotional is trials and tribulations of a long-term relationship. I don't care who you are. It's not easy being in a relationship with someone on a lifelong journey. There's all kinds of issues. They have baggage. You have baggage. You've got issues. She's got lots of issues. She's got more issues than a National Geographic. And National Geographic had a lot of issues. But you got to be willing to take those issues to heart, be open to her working on her shit, which God only knows how many women are even interested in working on their shit. But then how about the guys? How about the low testosterone, feminized, drugged? Oh, good. Somebody came back. Mr. Ray, good to see you, Mr. Ray. But married people do live longer, have more wealth, commit fewer crimes, and have better health than single people. That's a fact. That is a fact. And thank God for pushing back. Thank you for pushing back on me. Thank you for that. I do appreciate that because all of that is true. Married people live longer. That's a scientific data. That's a scientific data. Not only that, when you're ill, when God heaven forbid, you come down with some sort of an illness, you have a partner that gives a flying about you and is there to help you. Someone to drive you to the hospital. Someone to nurture you and check your temperature. Someone maybe even to help you take your blood pressure. Whatever it is. Whatever the fuck it is. Mr. Ray, thank you for coming down. I didn't even know you were hanging out there. It shows me everyone left. This is my little phone here is such a sad situation, but at least I've got this. The reason I don't use my laptop, but I think I might be able to reset it because I uploaded a Windows 11, and I think it fixed it, but the camera went dark. And I'm kind of a conspiracy guy, and I was like, why do my new computers all of a sudden don't work? How come my phones only last a couple of months? What the fuck is that? And it's funny because Candace Owens was talking about Charlie Kirk. This is what she said. She was sharing personal text with Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens. She said when Charlie would go out jogging, he would blow out the light posts. Lights would blast off. So he's out jogging at night, he's out there at nighttime and you got all the street lights. And it's pow, pow. Here's this Charlie and whoa, fuck, I'm knocking out the goddamn street lights again. And I was like, holy shit. man, I'm not the only one that has like electricity. Now, I've never knocked out a fucking street light. I've never had that. I don't jog. I got bad knees, and I've never liked jogging. I'm more of a swimmer than I am a jogger. But the point is I was like, holy shit. Candace just said time travel. I open every video for the last 5 years of greetings, intergalactic time travelers. Charlie thought he was a time traveler. I believe he was. I think he came from the past. See, I actually think I might have had some future type of thing. I actually believe, and I'll try to wrap this up, I actually believe that the aliens are not from way, way out. I actually believe that the so-called aliens are us, our technology in the future, coming back. If we can go the speed of light, that's time travel. That's time travel. Speed of light. That's what you would have to do to go from galaxy to galaxy. So if you believe in aliens, which I do, if you believe in that's time travel. That's time travel. Okay? Alex Jones, dumb fuck, dumb nuts, screaming Alex Jones. That's time travel, dumb nuts. If you can travel the speed of light, which is, if you believe in aliens, that is what they have to do. That sounds like Marshall Canals to me. You know what? That's a great point, because how about Atlantis and Atlantis Rising? And you read my mind there, Mr. Ray. You read my mind, because I've actually been leaning more towards they're not actually coming from way, way, way out in the Milky galaxies, well, beyond the Milky Way. But I meant just like things look milky, you know, when you look at images up at way, way, like way, 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 way far away. It's cloudy, kind of milky. You know, it's weird. What is all that? What's that foggy? What's this space fog? What the fuck is space fog? But you look at that and it's like, that's all out there. I don't necessarily think the tunnels in Hawaii, the tunnels off of the coast of California, the caves. Look at Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon, that was filled with water. What was down there, and why are all these weird Egyptian things down there in the Grand Canyon? What? So, but that's a whole nother video. That sounds like Martian canals. You mean like Mars? Or do you mean Mars? Did I touch on what you were thinking? So, let's give peace a chance. By God, that's all we got. It's all we got. I actually would like to see us last a little longer as a civilization. I actually have a whole bunch of questions that I would love to have answered in this life, on this planet, in this time. And, you know, that's not poo-poo people like Candace Owens that are talking about really important things. And when they're sharing things, you know, that Charlie mentioned as he jogged, streetlights would get blown out. Have you ever seen that? Have you ever experienced that? Have you ever gone jogging and have lights go out? How about static electricity? You ever touch someone and it goes pop, like pop, snap, pop, pop? People are like, oh, that's just fuzzies on the carpet. Is it? Is it? Maybe. You know, and one of the things with these like solar flares, these CMEs that are getting, the solar cycle 25 has been really intense. Spaceweather.com. Spaceweather, www.spaceweather.com. I follow that every day. They follow all of that. That's not astrology. That's the study and the science of it. So yesterday there was people saying, oh, we've got a hack. Verizon's down, all those communication towers are down, all this shit's down, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, it's got to be, it's war. It's got to be the Iranians. Everybody wants to blame fucking Iran or Russia for goddamn fucking everything, right? No, bro. Step back, you guys. Not you, but you guys. Solar flares. Like the Carrington event that wiped shit out. The little SOS things. It was, I don't know the exact date, but, you know, type that in. Carrington event. It wiped shit out. But yesterday there was a huge blackout, huge CME that came in. Nobody talked about it. The press missed it. Spaceweather.com will have it. It's all documented. There's a couple of other guys, Stefan Burns. He's outstanding. He follows all of them. He also connects it to the earthquakes. So the sun, when the sun's going, there's volcanic activity. There's more earthquakes. There's more volcanoes. We got electronic problems. We got communication problems. You know what else it's going to affect? Our brains. Our bodies are electrical currents. We are electricity. We're water with electricity. Martian canals don't exist. The astronomer Schiaparelli, who saw them, was just seeing distortions of light coming from Mars that originated in Earth's atmosphere. Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna take your word on it. I don't know. That sounds like but based on the assumption that there was a civilization on Mars, yeah, right. Does Elon believe that? Some people believe that we were on Mars first, and then there was a nuclear war or something, and then somehow we came from Mars, and now we're on Earth. And some of those people, including Elon, I don't want to put words in his mouth, but Elon actually believes that we need to get back to the homeland, which is Mars. But based on the assumption that there was a civilization on Mars, he came up with all sorts of theories of what they were like. I like that. Is that kind of like Two Planets? That book, Two Planets? Because in the human mind, there was a tendency to make connections and draw conclusions based on very little evidence. Don't we do the same damn thing today, sir? I mean, you're starting to sound like a professor now. Don't we do the same damn thing? Haven't I just done this for an hour and 16 minutes? Right? I mean, isn't it one long opinion? We got some data. We've got, I look at it as patterns. We've got patterns, of course, but we don't really know. The conclusions that you draw say more about what's going on in your mind than the phenomena you're actually observing. Bingo. Now that's psychology. No, I was going to say psychology 101. That might be second or third year psychology. I only believe in things that can be replicated. Okay, that's interesting. That you'd be good for an interview. We never have complete information. Yeah, I agree. Let's sip my iced coffee. God, I love iced coffee. Absolutely. So, War and Peace. I pitched out. I think I rambled on about a bunch of shit I didn't even want to talk about. The social engineering. So, let me end on free advice. The best thing to do to the Democrats is de-escalate, not escalate civil war. I believe we're in civil war now. It's obvious. When people are being shot, this side and back on that side, the ones with badges that are with this team, you got the purple hair team, the pink hair team, they're shooting this team. I mean, we've had people on rooftops firing into ICE agents. Dumb nuts didn't realize that he was shooting actual immigrants in a van and he shot, I think he killed immigrant. That was Texas. Then there was a whole nother cluster. Bush, there's like something like half a dozen people that have been indicted, not just allegations and, some sort of Alex Jones conspiracy theory. No, indicted for attempted murder. I mean, it's real. And there's all kinds of, I didn't even want to get into this Zivian, what is it? Zivian cult. There is so many weird little clusters, small groups of people that are looking to actively overthrow the country. It's alarming. I think it's Zivian. They even have a website. But they broke up this cult and they had killed a couple in California, and this group of just fucking people have lost their fucking minds. So bring that down. Now, you guys know, the Democrats, I'm talking to Democrats. You Democrats fucking know better. You know that the base has a whole bunch of mentally unstable, mentally ill people. Whether it's purple hair, pink hair, blue hair, whatever it is, I don't give a fuck. I used to have 25 years ago, I had a blue beard. They used to call me Bluebeard or Greenbeard or something like that. I don't care. But the point is that these people are not well. They're not well. And the Democrats are using them to instigate political change for their advantage. The Democrats know that. The wealthy elites that have got the money and they're calling themselves, got power in Congress, they're calling themselves Democrats. They're running Oregon, they're running California, running Washington, right? Hey, good to see you, Mr. Ray. Take care. Thanks for all your input and perspectives. Come on back. Another day. Every couple of weeks. I'm going to try to do more. I always say that, and then there's like 2 weeks, I'm like, oh, fuck, I haven't done a video. But let's de-escalate this situation, okay? Now, to the conservatives, I say this. It might be a good time to kind of bring down the roaming, what do you call it? We need ICE to do what they got to do, and I think that Minnesota, we need to escalate that. I think we should probably go martial law there and set an example. And it's going to get batshit crazy. I say that my heart's heavy because I know what that means. That means there's probably going to be dozens of protesters. There'll be a dozen pink and blue hairs that are going to go down. They're going to lose their lives. And there's going to be a number of agents that are good people. They're not bad people. They're not Nazis. They're not Nazis. The Democrats have been literally standing with Azov Battalion Ukraine Nazis in Ukraine, literal Nazis, for 3 years, 4 years. How many years has it been? Is it 2, 3 years? Years. Biden took us in there, arming, sending cocaine to the Nazis, sending cash to the Nazis, sending weapons to the Nazis, and it's all fucked up. It's to fight Russia? You got to be snorting a lot of cocaine to think you're going to kick Putin's ass. I mean, you got to be snorting more cocaine than you got to, because it's not clear-headed, common sense thinking. You're never going to beat Russia. You're never going to beat Putin on his own front lawn. That's ridiculous. So it's a complicated thing. I just, it's like, I kind of, my mind, I go back and forth here domestically. I'm like, I almost feel like it's a mission accomplished moment. But then at the same time, I have a thought that comes in real quick and says, we know that Biden flew in 20 million people, whether they're Hezbollah or Venezuelan cartels. I mean, flew them in, not just allowed them to go over the border. I mean, Catholic cherries. I mean, flew them into the States. Just where do we think the Somalians came from? Minnesota? Obama flew in hundreds of thousands of Somalians to create little Somaliaville. And now they have a representative in Congress. They didn't just sprout from the land. They're not indigenous to Minnesota. Although I've heard some heavily medicated Somalians say things that they found Minnesota first. Not true. So I think things are going to have to heat up, and I actually support it, just like I supported with Venezuela. I actually support things heating up in Minnesota. It's unfortunate. If that spreads out like it did in 2020, my heart's going to be heavy, because I don't actually want civil war. And unfortunately, I see forces on the left, the blue hairs, they want civil war. They want to kill father. They want to kill the father figure. ICE is the father figure. They want to kill them. They want to kill them. And on the right side, the conservatives, they don't want to admit it, but I have read their comments and I've had conversations with them. They think it's time for civil war themselves. They want it. They want it. They think that's the only way we're going to fight this corruption is to battle it out in gun battles. And I don't like that. I don't like that. I got cool hair, man. I ain't bald. Yeah, lo bola. La bola. Look at that. Come on. I'm too cool to be bald. Look at that fucking crazy mustache, you mofo. Come on. Let's go. Oh, balding. First you said I'm bald, and then you said, yep, balding. I ain't bald yet. Come on. But I'm more about peace and diplomacy. I don't want civil war. I really don't. But this framing that ICE doing their jobs, they have a right to have weapons. They have a right to defend themselves with weapons. You don't. Minnesota has a concealed carry, I believe. So it could escalate much faster than anybody expects. It could be a couple of weeks and we could be seeing full-on gun battles like the Wild Wild West, like the old black and whites of what the gold, the battle over California gold, you know. It could go that way very fast. I don't want that. But I can see when they say, fuck ICE, kill the pigs, all over Portland I'm seeing tags, kill police. It reminds me of 2020 when I saw those tags. These are people that are being manipulated, whether it's the vaccine, the mRNA, which I do have a theory that affected people's brains and it got them, you know, where they are today, not doing well. But that's just a side note. I mean, there's enough social engineering for people to want to think that they've been convinced themselves. They weren't brainwashed necessarily, although I do think the younger people are brainwashed. They've convinced themselves that they must kill these people. They're going to be killed unless they kill. They got to kill the police, kill ICE. And it's like, no, man, no. When you come at an officer, it doesn't have to be a police officer or ICE agent. It doesn't have anybody. You come at them and threaten and put their life in. They feel that there's an imminent danger. They're going to defend themselves, and they got the right to do it. You can complain and say, no, we're going to sue you, and no, we're going to charge you. You might be able to charge them in Minnesota. You might be able to charge them in California for defending themselves, but it's not. It's going to take time for that to happen. Meanwhile, it's civil war. It's civil war. Who do you think's going to win in a civil war? The federal government or little ragtag blue and pink haired people hopped up on hormones and painkillers and smoking some good weed? Which as your attorney, I would advise you to smoke the good weed and just chill. Take a bong ripper before you go out fighting ICE. Okay? Don't do that. Don't do that. As your attorney, I say, do not make plans to be violent. Do not do what you did last night. Stealing weapons, stealing records, shooting, whacking people with broomsticks or shovels, whatever the story is. Because broomsticks and shovels quickly go into pistols and machine guns. That's civil war. And when you hear things like that mayor said, he's encouraging people to stand up. That Mayor Frey is encouraging civil war. That's a leader, a Democrat leader seated. What Waltz said yesterday, he's changing his tune a little bit today. The painting is Erica Kirk glitching. She's at the beach glitching. It's like, it's a 4-footer or 40 inches. $2,000. Today, I'll give you a deal. Let's go $1,400. Just got to send the cash. I'll get it to you. We don't want civil war. This is not a game. And that's the other thing is I feel like the blue hair and pink hairs, they think this is like a game. And again, I blame the Democrat leadership for that, because they're telling them, oh, ICE is nobody. ICE has no rights. They can't arrest you. They can't do this. Don't let them in your house. They can't come in your house. Stop them with your cars. They can't do anything. Just stop them. Get in front of them and fight them. Yeah, you can do this. All this ICE watch shit, that's exactly what they did in 2020. It started in 2016, but that's the same type of jargon and bullshit that these Democrats did to ignite the wildfire, the civil unrest. We're in different times now. We're in different times now. You guys are not going to be able to go march around. We're going to burn tires. Oh, we're going to throw feces on the police for 3 months. Oh, we're going to go downtown and try to blow up the federal courthouse. No, you're not going to be able to fucking do that this time, because you've proven what you're do and want to do and what you're capable of, and now they're prepared. Now you are headed into the grave. I don't want you to go to the grave. I want you to develop your brain and develop some diplomacy and some peaceful skills. And the only way that's going to happen is take some bong rippers and play some video games inside, get in your mom's basement. I don't care. I'm not trying to be critical. Your mom's basement is far safer than waving a shovel at armed men that are going to fucking put rounds in you. But somehow the blue hairs and pink hairs, like I say that as a tribe, right? It's like ICE is their tribe, and then you got the blue hair tribe, the pink hair tribe. And they think that somehow they're not scared of anything. I sadly enough, it looks like suicide by ICE. It looks like suicide by ICE. Hello, T2H. Hello? Can MAGA please explain their rules? Total compliance except January 6th when it's MAGA. Please help us understand, what is your line? Is it just if it's a blue American, then it's bad? It's very confusing. That could be fair. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. I'm not a J6er, although that was a federal intelligence. You really want me to talk about that? Total compliance for cult leader. See, I'm not, though, and I don't think that the base is either. Here's my take. There's no cult leader, unfortunately, or fortunate. Unfortunately, to me, if there was a cult leader, there would be a chain of command. And so when someone says, like the Proud Boys, when someone at the Proud Boys at the top says, stand down, and I've seen that, stand down. Fucking everybody stands down. All of a sudden they're, picking their nose. You got grown men that were ready to box, picking their nose and scratching their butt, and they stand down. That's not what's happening. What's happening is it's fragmented. It's fracturing. This so-called MAGA doesn't exist. If you're asking me, I'm America first, but I'm an independent. And I see Maha, that was Democrats. That was progressives that brought in with Maha. Bobby Kennedy and all that crew. Those were Democrats that became independents. That's what Bobby Kennedy Jr. is. He was a Democrat. They screwed him over. We all know, you guys, if you're anarchists, we all know that these fucking Democrats are pieces of shit. They're controlled corporate tools. You're not. You're not controlled corporate tools. Unfortunately, you don't have any top-down guidance. You don't have any cult leader that says, stand down, guys. Stand down. Go home. Let's take some bong rips and play some cult leader, or Call of Duty, or whatever. Let's play Dungeons and Dragons. That's what I used to do. I never wanted to go out and fight ICE and get shot. I was playing Dungeons and Dragons. You do you, and I'll do me. Total compliance for cult leader. No, it's not a cult. Trump is the cult leader, my friend. Maybe to a small group. Okay, just hear me out here. But you act like MAGA has none of that. Well, hear me out. Just for a second here, because my gums have been John for an hour and 34. But since you guys are here and asking, this is my take on it. It's splintered. There is no MAGA. And I know that Trump thinks that there's MAGA, and that's what he's calling all the, which I call MEGA. It's making Israel great again. That the MEGA is that the big donors, Israeli, the Sheldon Addison's, he crossed over. What's her name? Miran. She's offered like $250 million if Trump will run another term. I mean, just all this crazy shit. They're completely controlling. Susie Wiles, the chief of staff, she worked with Ballard Holdings, the same place that AG Pam Bondi, the lobbyist group, they're from. Israeli money is controlling them. It's Israel. It's Israel first, and that's not America first. So we're seeing a divide. You're seeing who's the incel that I was just ranting on earlier. God, how can I forget the fucking brother's name? You're seeing these guys that are coming out. They're saying, no. You're being controlled by Israel. You're not MAGA. They're saying this to Trump. They're defaulting. Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes is saying, no. We are American first. We, this army of incels. How, you're going to take relationship advice from a guy that's never had any fucking tail? That's Nick Fuentes. He's on InfoWars giving relationship advice to Alex Jones, who's had multiple wives and multiple fucked up relationships. And he's never had a piece of tail. Just sit down, Fuentes. Sit down. I see you grew a beard. You're going through puberty. That's awesome. Puberty is really intense. Sit down. Let's get you laid. Let's take you to the strip club. You're going to get some tail, buddy. And then you can start talking about women. This guy's legit. I'm subbing. I'm being upfront that this, I don't want, there's two things. I'm going to be really honest. I don't want to see these dipshits, meaning who they think is MAGA, but America first is that bigger umbrella. That's got the Maha. That's got the people say, let's take the poisons out of the food. Let's do all this shit. Let's do this shit besides fucking up with wars. All right. There's neocons, the Lindsey Graham, Senator Lindsey Graham, all these other fucking Israel first fucks. They have sabotaged this second term like they sabotaged the first term for Trump. I think Trump had the best of intentions going in, and I think he's caved. Just like any man that is beholden to the money dollar. And Jesus says in Scripture how difficult it is for a rich man to get into heaven. It's easier for a camel to get through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to make it into heaven. Trump's not a religious guy. Trump's an agnostic. So this cult leader, which if anything's a little cultish, it's somebody who's wearing a tiny, tiny hat and kissing the Wailing Wall when they're not Judaists, married into the Judaist Mossad mafia with Jared Kushner. I can't stand Jared Kushner. Beautiful little daughter, Ivanka. She deserves much better than that little worm, Kushner. That's Mossad. He used to have Bibi come over to the house and sleeping in the same room as the story. I don't know. I don't want to imply, but the story is Bibi came to the house and shared a room with Jared. He was young. I don't know. I don't want to see those guys sabotage the midterms. And that's what's happening. The reason I say that is because that means the next 2 years, instead of taking care of low-income housing, instead of taking care of some very imperative issues that are on my priority, it's going to be just a circus. It's going to be all revenge and attack and impeachments and all a bunch of horse shit as we all get fucked out here in the streets. Now, I'm being outpriced out of my own hometown. I'm not only being outpriced out of my apartment, which goes up $100 every year, I'm being outpriced out of my own hometown, Portland, Oregon. I can't afford to rent in my own hometown. 10,000 people on the streets here in Portland. We've never seen that. We have 100 people dying every month because they don't have housing. That's the Democrats. And their priority is impeachment Their priority is to jam up nominees for Trump because it's Trump and Orange Man bad. Got everybody fucking brainwashed. CIA, social engineering, got you guys battling each other in the streets, and it's going to do nothing but create bloodshed and tears. I don't want you dying. Trump's not Jewish. Trump's agnostic. I thought Trump was Christian. Trump is not Christian. Now, Trump is Jewish because he's beholden to the Judaist wealthy donors. True. What's wrong with American First? Nothing's wrong with America First. I am America First. We're all America First unless you're a communist, you don't like capitalism. I'm a free market. I'm an artist. Although I'm in financial, I have never recovered from the COVID financially. We're now going on 6 years. I used to be able to sell a couple of paintings. I got collectors. I got people that commission me to do stuff for them. I've been able to do it for 30 years. 30 years in Portland. 30 years. I was Blue Catfish Studios. What else was I? Blue Zen Project. I've had gallery spaces on Belmont, gallery spaces on Hawthorne. I am a staple in this city, in the artistic community. All my friends have been driven out of town because they can't afford to live here anymore. And Israel, Lord Dementis, 1987. And Israel has a very powerful lobby. They do have a powerful lobby, yes, but it's worse. It's worse than the power. Everyone always blames AIPAC. You know, China controls just as, if not more people in Congress than Israel. What's worse is the entire cabinet surrounding Donnie, surrounding our boy, or the boy, Donnie. I actually think he's a good guy. He wasn't raping children in Epstein Island. I know all that fact. He liked to chase tail just like I did. Just like I do. I love big, beautiful porn stars. Who doesn't? But everyone around Trump, the entire motherfucking team, except for maybe Tulsi, Secretary Tulsi, and next to Tulsi is Joe Kent. Joe Kent is her helper. He's a diplomat. He's the one that was jamming Iran bombing in the first place. He's the one that is not taking money from Israel. He's against that. He doesn't want Israel controlling the cabinet. He doesn't want Israel controlling our foreign policy. Joe Kent. He's actually from Vancouver, right across the river. And he tried running for and almost beat her name, Maria Keppenkamp or something. Kind of a nutty gal, but she did get a little more moderate, and she's a little better now. But Joe Kent nearly unseated her for Congress, but he didn't successfully do it. He's now with Tulsi. That's it, though. I'm a Catholic extremist. Cheers. You love my daughter. My daughter's an Irish Catholic extremist. I'm not Catholic, but I've got way too much Irish Catholic extremists in the family. But yeah, no, it's kind of funny because JD Vance, he's Catholic, right? Isn't VP Vance, isn't he Catholic? And his wife? Hindu? Wow. Right? Wow. But you make it work. It says, I don't give a fuck about gay people. I just think we should be USA and Catholic first. Yeah, I'm not, to me, it's a no-brainer. Why should we, if it's consenting adults, why should we be telling anybody who they can have a sexual relationship with, as long as it's consenting adults? Now, obviously, children is unacceptable. That's when we break fingers. Hey, we're not just going to take them out. we're going to break their fingers one by one. If you want to peddle with children, we're going to break those fingers that touch the children one by one. We're going to go medieval on your ass. You're going to be begging to die, but you're not going to die. But the founding fathers were Protestant. Founding fathers were Freemasons, brother. There might have been some Protestants, but Freemasons. Now, I don't want to get into the Freemason thing because the Freemasons built Portland, and my grandfather was in the Freemason. They're not all bad guys. I kind of joke that they're like a neighborhood association, but it's not cool to make light of it, because there is a darker cell. There's almost like, and I know this sounds insane, it sounds like QAnon bullshit. There's almost like there's white hats and black hat Freemasons. I can't even begin to explain that because I don't know. I'm not a Freemason. I've never attended. I'm not in it. But I still am aware that, George Washington was Freemason. You got pictures of him wearing the apron. They're all in the white apron. You can't got the fucking compass, and when you got the white apron with the compass and the square, you really it's not a conspiracy anymore. It's that's called hard evidence, right? So you might be right about the Protestant and wasn't it the Protestant? Isn't that Ireland? Isn't that the old Irish conflict? It's the Catholics and the Protestants, North Ireland versus the rest of Ireland? Or do I have that screwed up? What do you think Protestant means? I have to look it up since you asked me. Well, tell me. What are your thoughts? What I read you, but what's the argument? Lord Dementis, no, their sins are between them and God, but they won't harm others. Yeah. I have no problem with gay marriage. That was a huge thing. And here in Oregon, this is something, because I'm old school Oregonian. I'm in my 50s now. And that one of the things that came about was same-sex marriage. And the Republican Party in Oregon took the hard stance of it's all sin. You're all a bunch of greasy liberal, insert bad names, very derogatory. They're less than humans, and they can't have the civil rights. They can't be married. They don't have a right to each other's property. None of the rights that marriage brings gay people, families. There is families, but that's not what I meant. It's just the relationship, the civil union. There's a legal reason. If someone dies, their inheritance goes to that partner in a marriage. So, and it destroyed the Republicans in Oregon. It destroyed them because everyone in Portland was pro-gay marriage. In fact, all the way down to Eugene, the majority of the state was for pro-gay lesbian marriage. Yeah, you're saying, okay, so Lord Dementis, gay marriage? Yeah, go to a courthouse, but Catholic Church has a right not to bless such a marriage. Absolutely. You guys have a right to run however you want to run the church. I have issues with, we were talking about earlier, with the Mesoamerican culture, because I love Mesoamerican culture. In 2012, their Mayan calendar stopped. And I think that's when they were massacred by the Catholics, the Spanish Crusades, under order of the Vatican, came in and looted all their gold, raped all their women, massacred everything, called it all demonic, called it all satanic and demonic, destroyed the Mesoamerican culture. 2012, they couldn't work on the calendar anymore when that happened. When you're dead and all your artists and scribes have been massacred, that's when the calendar stopped. So 2013 didn't happen, not because that was the end of our times. It's because their times ended by the Spanish Crusades and the Catholic Vatican. So, I mean, that's just the harsh reality of it. Now, I don't blame all Catholics like that. Like I said, I got way too many Catholics in the family. I grandmas on both sides. My daughter's mother is Catholic. And I was joking about my daughter. She's not actually Catholic, but she is Irish. A lot of Irish. They are Irish Catholic on her maternal side. Well, and both sides. I got Irish on both sides because my mother is quarter Irish through her dad, and Norwegian, another quarter Norwegian. I got Native American, Blackfoot, Indigenous, and then all that other European mutt that came through on my mom's side. But what's your opinion on NAMBLA? NAMBLA. Refresh my memory. I don't mean to sound like an idiot. What's your opinion on NAMBLA? Oh, I love Italians. Oh, I love Greeks too. Long line of greasy Italian and Greeks. Oh man, you're probably a cool dude. I love Italian. Nobody knows family values better than the Italian and the Greeks. NAMBLA. I'm sorry about NAMBLA. I don't remember. That's it. I know once you say it, I'll remember it. And then Lord Dementis says, yes, those things are wrong. Differences we have changed. Yeah, absolutely. Flat Truther. He's a member. I'm a member. So Flat Truther's trying to make fun of me on something. They made fun of it on South Park. South Park's kind of funny. You know what was funny? Is South Park made fun of Secretary Gnome, and she liked it. She actually reposted it on X when it went down. And the clip I saw, I mean, she's like, isn't she shooting her dog? She's shooting dogs on South Park, and it was kind of an edgy piece for her. She liked it. Flat Earth. He's a member. NAMBLA. I should know that. Anyway, it's really not all about us. We've become so narcissistic. There's so much self-absorption, ethnocentristic. It's like we've forgotten the team. We forgot us. We forgot we. And all this me. We forgot we, the team. And we're not going to like everybody on the team. We're not going to like everybody in the community. But there's a way to be peaceful and diplomatic and get along. And what's happening is this social engineering, which I'm convinced, just like the Iranian coup, and I was long and hard on breaking down my feelings on Iran right now. It's bullshit. It's probably Israeli IDF Mossad operations, instigating it with the help of Jolani, the ISIS beheader who took over, ran Assad out, and took over Syria. It's the same shit. I actually see a comparison with these dark hands, these dark forces, the same motherfuckers that are doing that shit in Iran are doing it right here in Minneapolis. And you've got Mayor Frey telling people step up and attack. I don't have his exact quote, but you've got Waltz. He was saying the exact same thing. He's like, oh yeah, get in their faces, and everyone get your cameras and get in their faces. Well, that's how people get ran over and shot. We don't need you to get the cameras and get in their faces. We need you to stand down. We need you to back off. Back off. I love immigrants. A lot of us do. There's a lot of conservatives that love immigrants, legal immigrants. But it's this cartel manipulation that I believe was intentional. The flooding, not just Hezbollah and cartels and Sol and fentanyl. And listen, I've had several neighbors die right here on my floor. I'm on the 4th floor. It's 100 people in my building. I've had a dozen different people die from fentanyl. I mean, dead. Where I see them, they're blue, dead. The one roommate right across the hall, he came over, and his lady friend 3 times. And then I had to go get the other neighbor. I go, you got your spray of the Narcan, whatever the fuck that shit is. I don't even know what the fuck that is. She come over and we're shooting Narcan up into her nose. She goes from purple to blue, and she comes back. She came out of it 3 times. The 3rd time, after that, she didn't come back. Dead. And I was like, brother, I can't do this anymore. I mean, she's got to get into treatment, or I can't have you pounding on the door. I can't be dealing with your dead lady. I'm sorry, And she's gone now. But my point is that I've seen so much of it. So not only is it historically been traumatic for me recently, because I've had a lot of family and hundreds of friends die from drug overdoses over the years. I used to work social services. I worked with at-risk youth. So, I mean, I was working with street youth that were overdosing every day and dying every week. But so there's that component, but I'm talking about what fentanyl has done. It's poisoning people. They don't even know they're taking it. They think they're smoking meth or whatever. And it's with this high-powered shit that I've never seen before. I've never seen a drug like this, and I've seen all the drugs my whole life. This fentanyl, it's killing them. It's killing addicts with tolerance immediately. 1 use, 2 use, 3 use. North American Man-Boy Love Association? No, that's not cool. No, fuck no, man. That's what I was talking about is we're going to break fingers. That's a finger breaker, isn't it? Yeah, we're going to break their fingers. Not with them. I'm not cool with that. I want to break their fingers. Where are they? And that, if ICE, why don't we have ICE go door to door looking for nambies? Yeah, why not? Let's do a pedo patrol, little pedo brigade. If we're so concerned about immigrants, let's start going door to door making sure we don't have any pedos in the neighborhood. And if we find them, then what do? Well, we start breaking fingers. I'm not going to kill anybody. We're going to torture them right there in their front lawn. But what needs to happen is we need a stand down and a de-escalation. That's probably not going to happen. It's probably going to go fucking balls out. And it sounds like Iran has stepped back. Trump said today he doesn't want to bomb shit out of them. Thank God. Because that means all deals are off with Russia, and Russia's ready to nuke. Russia's probably going to nuke Germany, probably going to end up nuking Britain. And, there's a whole bunch of people that don't have a problem with Germany and Britain getting nuked. I do. I don't want anybody nuked. I don't want mutually assured destruction. That's what Minneapolis is headed to. Minneapolis, in a political and metaphorical sense, is headed to a mutually assured destruction. And of course that's going to run off, just like with George Floyd. That's George Floyd. Of course they're not going to tell you that he had... we got video with him with the drugs in his mouth, and that's what he overdosed on. It wasn't about the officer doing a knee on his neck. That's not what happened. There's 25 minutes of body camera from, what's his name, Chopin? What was the officer's name? I think it's Chauvin, something like this. 25 minutes. He's peacefully trying to get him into the back of the squad car. No abuse, no tasers, no punches, no broken fingers. I've had police break my fingers just because I wasn't moving fast enough. They never broke his fingers. They didn't do anything to him except for restrain. And then the drugs that he put in his mouth because he didn't want to go back to prison. Big Mama was his old lady. Big Mama was on the stand of that trial for George Floyd. Big Mama. And Big Mama said on the stand, he's been in overdose in the hospital multiple times this year, just 60 days ago. So he didn't want to go back to prison, way deep in fentanyl and meth. I guess there's some sort of, we used to call cocaine and heroin a speedball, the old school speedball. I guess they got a different name, but it's meth and fentanyl together. It's the same thing, but it's not called a speedball. I don't know. I haven't been around it that closely to know. But that's what George Floyd was on. That's what killed him. And the toxicology report, the CIA and the Mockingbird media, they left all of that out. They let the country burn to oust Trump. They let the country be destroyed. Dozens and dozens. I think there was 100 police officers shot. Dozens were assassinated across the country. Billions of dollars. A lot of the small business that was destroyed were communities of color. Fact. Communities of color went bankrupt. On top of the bioweapon of COVID-19. That didn't come from China. That came from Fort Detrick. That's another CIA fuckery. Those are my beliefs, just my beliefs. Not a doctor, not giving medical advice. I'm just giving you my perspectives on what the fuck went down. I think that's still going down right now. And they're escalating. I can see, I'm watching live streams. There's Portland Andy, and he'll do several different live streams. I'm watching these live streams, and I'm seeing what's going on. There's instigators literally saying on camera, we're going to grab guns, and we're going to come back, and we're going to kill ICE. They're saying that to ICE agents on the ground to their face. Do you know what an agent provocateur is? Those are CIA assets. How about dumb nuts driving a U-Haul through the Iran protests because they were pro-Shah, pro-revolution in Iran? How did he not kill 100 people? How did he not injure a dozen people? I think there was one person that came out with a Band-Aid. Thank God. Thank God. But that guy, that dumb nuts with a U-Haul, we're going to have a whole bunch more fucking intelligent community, probably CIA, could be Mossad and CIA working together. I don't know. Do we ever really know? We know it's intel ops driving U-Hauls through fucking people's crowds. That's what's coming. I don't want that. I don't want that. If you want that, you're a part of the problem. If you want that, you're not a diplomat. If you want that, you're a part of either the blue army or the pink-haired army, whichever it is, because that's not even what conservatives want. Although there is some folks, it's a small number, just like the anarchy communists that are just as violent. On the right side, I do catch there is some people, and that doesn't mean they're MAGA or America First. It just means they're fucked up just like the far left. They want a civil war. They want a civil war. They're looking for it. And once those guys get lit up, they'll end up battling the federal officers too. So you'll have those dumb nuts battling the blue hair and the pink hair tribes, and then the feds are going to have to come in and level out both sides. Thank you, Carol. I agree. The hate, Carol says, I'll just say, Carol, the hate and evil towards Trump will stop at nothing. It's true. It's true. But as I said earlier in the video, I actually break it down even more than that, because it's really about they hate men. They hate men. Men represent. I'm not just playing victim here. I'm not a fucking victim. I don't give a fuck if you don't like me. Fuck you. Get the fuck out of here. I don't care. I'm just analyzing the psychoanalysts of the social engineering. They hate men. Men represent this patriarch to them, this oppression, this colonialization, this white man that's came and done all of this shit to the country, and they've got to fight the white man, the colonizer. I've listened to those groups. I've stood on the protest line peacefully myself and heard them say those things. I know what they're thinking because I've heard them. I've been at PSU with radical indigenous groups lecturing, and they're saying, we want accomplices. We don't want, what is their phrase? We don't want comrades, we want accomplices. And what they meant is we need you ready to kill with us. That's civil war. I don't want civil war. Hello, the cult justification. Oh, GFC. You can see hello is from their own little group, aren't they? Is this a Christian fascist stream? No, not at all. Not at all. I'm not a fascist of any kind. In fact, you are typing fascist bullshit in this chat right now. See? Because you have so much hate that anybody that doesn't agree with you, you're a fascist. You're a cult. You got to be killed. You're the problem. This is what you're typing right now in real time as I'm speaking. You're saying exactly what I'm saying is going on in the street. You're proving my case as you type that in the chat. In all fairness, men have been in charge and not doing so good. So, well, there's your argument. That's why you want to kill men, especially white men, right? Got to kill the white men because they haven't done a good job. I would simply push back on that and say, look at all the women in control now. Look at Oregon. Where are you from? I don't know where you're from. You probably don't want to get in a code name with no picture. Probably don't want to say where you're from. That's fine. Look at Oregon. Look at Oregon. The governor's female. All the Multnomah County, all females. City council, all these females. Female running. Look at the despair and the crisis the state of Oregon is in. All under women in leadership positions. Now, the conservative women friends that I have on X will say that's because they haven't brought in the conservative women. You need to give conservative women a chance. The conservative women haven't had a chance for 40 years. I'm not so convinced that just because they're conservative that women instead of men is the solution. You know what the solution is? We. Us. Together. Teamwork. You don't have to like me. I don't have to like you for us to function and have our basic needs met as a community. I'm not going to hurt you. You don't need to hurt us. See? And that polarization is gone. That's why we're at civil war. And no, I'm not picking a side of a civil war. Unfortunately, I've been marginalized and pushed to the side by both sides, all sides. Nobody fucking wants me. Nobody wants diplomacy. Nobody wants peace. Peace is done. It's all done now. You guys are squaring up. You're stealing guns, buying ammo, and you're ready to shoot the fuck out of each other. And there's nothing I can do to stop it except for tell you, stop. Please stop. Hello says, I didn't say that. Jesus fucking Christ. JSE. Host generalizes dims and justifies total mega innocence. No, not at all. Not at all. I condemn what the corruption of MAGA. That's why I'm not MAGA. I wasn't MAGA to begin with. I was America first. I am America first still. But I came in with MAHA, make America healthy again. And look at all the accomplishments that MAHA has done. Look at all these things. They're little things, but they're significant. Removing red dye. Let's get the sweeteners out of Pepsi and Coke, whichever flavor you prefer, it doesn't matter. They both have cancer. They kill all the lab rats, get cancer and tumors in the lab when they're fed Coke or Pepsi. So you're saying, you're with Pepsi, and then the other guy down there says, no, you're with Coke. And I'm saying, no, you know what, guys? Both of the soft drink aspartame is killing all of you, and that's why I don't drink it, and you don't need to drink it, and let's get MAHA to get it out of there. We have a lot of common ground. We have far more common ground than we have things to even argue about. More or less get in the streets and punch each other, or worse, which is what's happening now. It's going from broomsticks to shovels to bullets. We have snipers on the rooftops in Texas. I don't want that. Do you eat spaghetti intake? Jet Set Jared, 69. Do you eat spaghetti intake? I don't eat a lot of pasta. I've cut the carbs down. I'm trying to do more of a protein, but we do eat. I eat pasta occasionally. I mean, I like spaghetti. I like meatballs, spaghetti and meatballs with a good red sauce. Well, hello. I'm not trying to put words in your mouth. I'm just half reading what you're saying and half interpreting how I perceive what you're saying there. Now, I'm not saying you're thinking of that. I'm not trying to imply that you want to go out, march out in the street and do what all these tags, killing police, kill ICE, kill the pigs, all this shit that I see tagged all over my city. What I see today is exactly what I saw in 2019 and 2020 before my city nearly burnt down. Nearly burnt down. And we've never recovered. I'm a small business guy my whole life in Portland. I've seen all my small business friends, restaurants go bankrupt. In large part because of the anarcho-communists that think it's cool to create riots and anarchy because they want to fight oppression and fight the white man. We got to kill everybody and burn all the small businesses down. Fuck you guys. Fuck you guys. Not only that, the small businesses are half communities of color. You're not even following. See, Islamophobic. Oh, God. 2 hours and 10 minutes. All right, guys. I appreciate it. Be safe. Whether you hate me or love me, I'm just trying to help. And I know there's not much I can do. I watch the live streams. I see everything that's going on. And it makes my heart heavy. Because I don't want to see anybody ran over. Not with purple hair and not with a badge. I don't want anybody shot. And we need to de-escalate. And what the Democrat leadership is doing is they're feeding you guys, the foot soldiers in this chat, they're feeding you to these sacrifices. You're being sacrificed. And as soon as you realize that, you're going to stop following their passive-aggressive orders to go into the streets and create chaos like you did in 2020 because you're being used as a pawn. You will not achieve success. You will not achieve change. What you are going to achieve is civil war and unrest. And your comrades are going to be into the ground just as the ICE agents and police, unfortunately, everybody is going to fall into the ground as well. Ultimately, it's going to be the federal government with the Apache helicopters and the tanks that are going to come and wipe out all of us. Eventually, they're going to get me. And I never fought. I wasn't in the battle at all. Eventually, they come for me, the diplomat. Georgia. Georgia's, Cop City down there in Georgia. It's K-Way Morgue. Love can blossom between political lines because my friend Ashley is a right-winger, but she's into Steven, who is a Democrat. Ashley is a right-winger, but she's into Steven, who's a Democrat. We're from Georgia. My friend Steven always talks about them because his stepdad is a Christian conservative and doesn't let him drive his car. Right? You got to be with Jesus to drive. You can't get the keys to drive unless you're with Jesus. All right, guys. 2 hours plus is too long for me. Be safe, man. God bless.